buildings. They were supposed to have retrofitted them. They had a 35-year license and it expired. And you can see the decision there to not retrofit the building has actually come to haunt these people here. The devastation has been pretty significant. The entire block around downtown, several blocks, is all blocked off. We got the courthouse here crumbling, just beautiful architecture. I mean, there's so many gorgeous Victorian homes here that are, built in 1903, and they're devastated. We talked to a few people that said that it felt like the earth was just moving left to right about 3 feet, and they heard all of their dishes shattering, and their cats were freaking out, their dogs were running and hiding, and people literally thought they were going to die. And this is not the first earthquake that they've lived through. This one was very scary for them. You can see behind me, this is one of the oldest buildings here in town, and right next to it, a few doors down, there's a coffee shop. We're going to be speaking with that gentleman. We'll upload that report to INFOWARS.com later. But that guy is a little upset because he had to close his business today, and he can't open it, even though his business suffered no damage because he did the retrofitting, but because these other business owners decided not, it would be too expensive for them to do what was necessary to kind of bolt their building down to the foundation and make sure that the building would be secure. And now the other businesses around him are suffering.
Now, Leanne, what's the story on that car behind you? You told me that somebody left their car there last night.
Yes, well, we actually have a citizen who was making a wise decision to not drive home after feeling a little tipsy after being at the bar. And so he made the decision to leave his car parked. And then the next day when he woke up after, that earthquake hit about 3:30 in the morning, and then this is what he found. So.
Wow.
Sometimes those smart decisions.
Yeah, it didn't work out for him. But tell me, Leanne, so you've had a chance to talk to some of the locals. What are they saying about this situation?
Well, the state of emergency that was declared, they all feel that it was justified, and the reaction to getting their power turned back on was, the gentleman we talked to said he was one of the last homes to get his power turned back on, and that happened yesterday. So they've been very quick to make sure that it kind of life gets back to normal for the folks here. But I've seen a lot of people, and they said this is their second, maybe third earthquake that they have lived through, and their eyes were tearing up and they were frightened. They literally thought that this was the one that was going to crush them, that they were going to die.
And what was different about this one as opposed to the other ones? You said you talked to some people who had actually experienced some other ones. What made it different this time?
I think it was just the way that the energy transferred. This one, they were describing it that it was just really going up and down and side to side. We have some footage coming your way. There is a building, and it doesn't really look like the building itself has had a lot of damage, but it's 3 feet off the foundation. It just literally shifted 3 feet over. So
Wow.
those people's home is condemned. They can't even go in it, even though when you look at it, it's perfectly fine. And then you see other buildings that just have the yellow tape. The yellow tape means that they can re-enter these at some point, but the red tape that you'll see around some of the buildings means they're going to have to tear them down entirely.
Well, it's a very sad situation. I know, Leanne, you have a lot of things to cover while you're out there, so you're going to be out there the rest of the week, correct?
Yeah, I'm not too sure. We've got a few things in the works, a lot of things around here to kind of discover. We're going to go hit up an area where some of the kids are using the part of the road that has shifted upward, and they're using it as a skate ramp. So very California. So we're going to go there a little later, and we're also going to be probably taking a trip toward the Bohemian Grove and some other things. I don't know.
Are you going to try to sneak in under the cover of darkness like Alex did? I think you might sneak out. You might stick out in a location like that, Leanne.
One thing I forgot to mention, the wineries. We're on our way there. It's about a 20-minute drive from here. But you might have seen, the New York Times, a lot of places are posting footage from the wineries themselves. These are 900-pound wine barrels that were just shaken right off of the walls and just tumbled to the ground, lost a lot of wine. They are predicting it could be $1 billion+ that's going to affect the wine industry.
Wow.
Of course, a lot of people are sort of rallying around. That's a huge industry here for Napa, obviously. So.
All right, Leanne McAdoo in the field with John Bound, and we look forward to seeing what you guys find out there. Definitely be safe. I'm not sure if they expect any aftershocks, but you guys definitely be safe out there.
Thank you very much.
Well, that's it for the InfoWars Nightly News.
David Knight here in Austin, and we have Paul Joseph Watson joining us in the UK. He's got a couple of articles up on INFOWARS.com today. Of course, the staged Foley beheading is being used as a poster child for a Syria attack. We had an article just last Friday saying the Obama administration said that Foley's execution was, quote, an attack on our country. And the Deputy National Security Advisor, Ben Rhodes, said it was the first ISIS attack on America. This reminds me of the saying that Stalin always said, you know, 1 million deaths is a statistic, but 1 death is a tragedy. They're trying to bring this home, especially for Americans. They showed people dying of sarin gas a year ago in Syria, and perhaps they thought that Americans didn't get involved in that because it wasn't Americans that they saw dying. But actually, what happened was we also exposed that it was not really a case that it was only the Syrian government of Assad that could have done that. We made it very clear that there had been previous attacks of sarin gas where the United Nations, as well as Russian and American intelligence analysts, had said that the sarin gas had been used by rebels previously to that. And so it wasn't true that that could have only been Assad. So the whole narrative a year ago failed. At that time, they wanted to go to war with Assad in Syria. Now they want to go to war on his side against the people that they were funding over the last year. And there's been an interesting development over the weekend. That's why we have Paul Joseph Watson on, is that experts in the UK are saying that this video of the beheading was likely fake. So I want to go to Paul now. Paul, thank you for joining us. Now, this video, tell us some of the aspects, before we get into the implication of how they're trying to use this to start another war. Tell us what these experts in the UK are saying about this video, why they believe that it was fake.
Well, I made a video last week, Thursday, questioning whether this was fake, because what piqued my interest was the fact that UK authorities, the police, came out and said, literally hours after this video was released, that if you watch this video of this alleged beheading on YouTube, not merely share it, disseminate it, post a link on Facebook, if you simply watch it, then you could be a terrorist. You could be breaking laws under the Terrorist Act. So that suggested to me that they weren't too keen on people watching it. So I made a video on Thursday questioning some of the aspects of this so-called beheading clip. To make it clear from the start, in the original clip of this so-called ISIS beheading of James Foley, you do not see Foley being beheaded. All you see is 6 so-called slashes of the knife across his neck, and then it fades to black. Then it cuts to a still image of Foley's decapitated head resting on his body. So at no point do you actually see him being physically beheaded. And all these points that I'm making now were replicated by these forensic experts that came out yesterday and said the same thing that I said and many others said last week. The other main point, David, is the fact that when he's reading out his speech, Foley, before he's beheaded, he's completely calm, he's completely composed. Yes. It's not the behavior of somebody who knows that they're about to be brutally slaughtered. And in fact, the forensic experts came out afterwards and said that he actually had to redo one of his lip in the footage. They said he had to refilm one of the lines because he mucked it up. So he was going off a script. Yeah. His demeanor was obviously not of a person waiting to be beheaded. So we'll get into it more after the break.
Well, it was interesting, and I want to talk after the break, too, about this censorship, because that is a major reversal. I mean, we ought to be concerned at any time that the government says watching a video makes you a terrorist, and yet they've been very accepting of ISIS and other terrorist groups' Facebook postings and social media postings. At the same time, when we put things up, they will censor it if we try to share it with other people. So that was a very amazing reversal of their policy to say, but don't even look at this, even though they had left the previous Islamic terrorist social media postings up for everybody to see, censoring people who are pushing back against that. So that right there raised a lot of flags, besides setting a very dangerous precedent for everyone.
Exactly, the free flow of information precedent. And, yes. You know, we saw the images flashed across the news. We saw the narrative being pushed. And yet they were encouraging, not just encouraging, but warning people not to watch the video, which suggested to me that there was something very wrong with it indeed. And again, it completely contradicts previous beheading videos where you have a group of these militants surrounding the individual. They all chant Allah Akbar as he's being killed. They cite the Quran before they kill him. You'll see none of this in the James Foley video.
I think it's also interesting that the guy who did it is supposedly a British guy as well.
You've experienced and heard about the benefits of super male vitality. Now, the new formula has arrived. Introducing the new Super Female Vitality. I have specifically designed this formula to help the body naturally regulate itself without the use of artificial hormones. Key ingredients chosen from the highest quality sources. Secure your Super Female Vitality today from our limited stock at InfoWarsLife.com.
You are watching the InfoWars Nightly News, which airs 7 p.m. Central at InfoWarsNews.com. Members can share their passcodes with up to 11 other people, and your support is helping us defend liberty worldwide.